Over the next month, I'm going to take you shot by shot through my animated short film, Welcome to Texas. The link is in the description below. Now, I want to warn you, if you watch the film, it's about a woman's right to choose and what happens when you take it away. It starts off light and happy, and then turns dark. I encourage you to watch the film so you understand what I'm doing shot by shot, but it's not necessary, but just know what you're getting into. So, having said that, let's start with shot one. So, here's a storyboard of my first shot. My drawings are not great, but that doesn't matter. You just get the idea of what you want to do, and you jot it down. And then I made some notes on the side. So that's the storyboard, and let's look at the shot. So the difference here is I fade up, tight on the sign, and then we float over to the road and see the car drive by. Now, looking at the car, you're going to see some stuff here. I've got some bags in the back. I got the trunk. I got two characters. And the car goes by, and I do motion blur to make it a little bit blurry because I'm going to show you some stuff about the characters and stuff in the car that isn't great. And the fact that they're blurry as they go by helps enormously. So that is the first shot. Now let me show you what I purchased. The first thing I purchased was the landscape, $12 at Turbo Squid. I could have spent a year building this and not made it this good. As you flip through, you see there's all sorts of assets in here that I did not use, but it was well worth the $12. The next thing I purchased was this car. It was not rigged, so I had to rig it. It looked fantastic. I spent a whole lot of time redoing the color and the chrome details myself in Substance Painter. I got into a phase where I really was into Substance Painter, and that was a total waste of time. But it was a learning process, and I was kind of stalling as I was starting out this project. The car is the first thing I bought, and I spent months tearing it apart and rebuilding it for my purposes. The other thing that I bought, actually, the character of the dad, which is a blur in this, so I won't go over it much, was free from Blender Studio. And the character of the girl was from CG Trader, and I had to do a lot of sculpting to get her to look normal and not like this Barbie doll of a character, if you will. It was the only female character that I could find that was even close to what I was looking for, and she was rigged, so that's why I chose this character. And after a lot of work, I got her looking relatively normal and not disproportionate to what any human might actually be. All right, let's look at the Blender file. All right, so here we are in the Blender file. What I should mention is one of the other things I purchased was this trunk here. And then the ropes holding the trunk down, I created myself. And then this blanket I created myself. And if you look down here, there's a lot of little keyframes on this blanket. The blanket actually flaps in the wind. I literally did that with shape keys. So you could see the blanket kind of go up and down. It's very rudimentary there if you look at it. But it's just supposed to be flapping in the wind as the car goes by at like 60 miles an hour. The other thing I will point out is these characters that I have in the car are not actually the rigged characters. For some reason, I cannot figure out how to parent the characters to the car. So everything in the car is parented to this little square here, this cube, and the car follows a path. I'll talk about that in a second. But the characters, I basically cheated, posed them as if they were in the car, and then I exported them as a mesh and took that mesh and attached the mesh to the car. Since then, I've learned to attach a rig to another object and control it, but at this point in time, I couldn't do that, so I just figured out a workaround, and that was my workaround. Workarounds are your friend if you get stuck on something. As you noticed, when the people went by, they were so blurry, you didn't even notice that they were not moving. They were just sitting there, flying by in the car. One thing that is moving are the wheels. The car was not rigged, but the wheels do move. Let me do it this way. I am to the point where the car hasn't started moving yet. So over here, we're tied on the sign. The sign pans over, or we fly over to the road, and then the car starts moving. So I was showing you where the car was not moving. So the car's just sitting there waiting to go. And then the car, come on, Blender, catch up. And then the car, as you can see, just flies by the sign. Now let's get back to the car over here. Now the wheels. First of all, you'll notice the wheels are a little bit underground. I figured it was better to have them disappear than to have the cars floating above the ground. The wheels spin. I just did some math. You can see up here in the rotation, and basically said the car is going this far. The circumference of the wheel is this. I just spun the wheel a whole lot. Let's see what I get to. I'll start there and there. So negative, what is that? 12,985 degrees. And then it ends around negative 230 degrees. So I just literally did a couple of some rotations there on the tires, and they're going by so fast. Again, everything should be blurry. So as long as the tires are blurry and it looks like they're spinning, that works for me. I think I was pretty close on the math, but the math was not perfect. So the follow path for this car, let's take a look down here. The follow path, I wound up, it's just underneath the surface, but look how far this car goes. It goes pretty far. And in order to make a path that long, I was not too interested in trying to line that up. And then I realized if I look over here, the power cables come over here, power pole modifiers, they have their own curve. So what I did, let's find the curve there. There's the curve. I took the power poles curve that they used to create the power lines, duplicated it, and slid it over to the middle of the road. And it was basically super close to what I needed for my car to follow. So I took something that they built and modified it for myself, and saved me hours of trying to figure out how to get a path perfectly along the lines of that road. So starting here with the sign, this was another purchase, and I made the sign itself. I composited the Welcome to Texas and the flag. I did that myself in what is called GIMP, free Photoshop. Terrible name if you've ever watched Pulp Fiction for a program, but GIMP is free Photoshop, and that's what I used to make this sign. The sign was purchased and dropped in, and then I added this one texture for Welcome to Texas. Tomorrow, I'll take you through shot 2. I'll see you then.